Chapter 8. The Four Parts of Fate. Every person finds himself in a certain environment, in a certain physical condition, in certain mental states, with certain abilities and opportunities, and with certain obstacles and limitations. In a world with others, he finds himself in a world of his own, and he calls this world his fate. But what is the cause of it all? He knows that he is responsible for some of it, but he is quite sure he is not responsible for all of it. But who is? He wishes to know in order that he may eliminate the undesirable and constantly improve upon that which he wishes to retain. When we analyze fate, we find that it has four distinct parts, each of which comes from its own individual cause. The first is the creation of nature that man was voluntarily entered into. The second is the creations of the race that man as an individual has accepted as his own. The third is the creations of certain individuals to which man has closely related himself. And the fourth is the creations of the individual himself. The man voluntarily entered into the first three is a fact easily demonstrated, though he might not have been wide awake when he did so. Those parts of your fate that you have not created you have selected, though too often you made your selection in the dark. In the mastery of fate, it is therefore not only necessary to produce the very highest creations through your own creative efforts, but it is also necessary to obtain that wisdom, or interior insight, through which the proper selections may be made from those other sources that do invariably contribute to your fate. Those creations of nature that we may find in our own environment are filled with unlimited possibilities, whether they appear favorable or not. What they are to do to us depends upon what we decide to do with them. We may take the element of nature and convert them into high and constructive uses, or we may present ourselves to remain in bondage to these elements. The bondage, however, is not produced by nature, but the way we relate ourselves to nature. To master that part of fate that we receive from nature, the secret is to be in harmony with nature at all times, and under all conditions, and try constantly to employ constructively every element in nature, that which we may come in contact. That part of fate that has been received from the race is called heredity, and is usually looked upon as a permanent factor in life, but there is no heredity that cannot be changed. Acquire the art of letting these things go that you do not want, and proceed to improve upon those that you do want. Use undeveloped hereditary conditions as channels through which to reach the greater things you have in view. Back of every condition there is a power. That power can be developed, and when it is, the old inferior conditions disappear. What is called the world, with all its perversions and obstacles, is simply raw materials, out of which the strong mind can build almost anything that he may desire. But the world must not be met in the belief that things are as they are permanent and insurmountable, but as the builder meets his material. Work in the idea that he can who thinks he can. Develop interior insight that you may know how to select the material you desire, and develop your mind into a strong mind by entering the attitude of self-supremacy. We have the same mental power over circumstances and conditions as we have physical power over iron, lumber, and coal. Every event that transpires in daily life contains an opportunity, but we must have the insight to see it and the power to employ it. The creation of those individuals with whom we come in personal contact constitute frequently a predominating factor in our destiny, because since we are more or less wedded to our associations, our minds accept impressions from such sources to a very great degree. But this interferes with original thinking and consequently with our own mastery of fate. Therefore, that part of fate that we receive from friends, relatives, and personal associations must be carefully selected through insight and through the principle that when we become better, we meet better people. Instead of being indiscriminately influenced by our friends, we should accept their mental gifts as we accept their hospitable request, to be masticated, digested, and assimilated by ourselves. What to do with close relations that refuse to cooperate with us is a great problem that becomes extremely simple when we decide to live our own life in such a way that no person's liberty or idea of liberty is disturbed. Be a model character that does things, and everybody will soon go with you to the superior life you have in view. Give your best to everybody, and the best will certainly come to you if you give the law the time required, and do not force changes by impatience and lack of faith. Change yourself, and all other desirable changes must positively follow. End of chapter.